Welcome back, good people of the great nation. This is the second and conclusive segment of Development Focus with Jide Ojo on ITV. Today, 4th of May, 2022. So soon, it's already the number, day 4 of May, and this is the second quarter of 2022. I have with me a conflict manager, if I can call him that, but you know, I before I met him, I just, when I saw someone using "sir," I believe that man should be in his 80s or, you know, an octogenarian. Until I met him, and I was asking why he's using "sir." Maybe there is more to that. But I have with me Sir Bola Abimbola. Bola Abimbola is the Senior Program Manager with Savannah Center for Diplomacy, Democracy and Development. I don't know whether I got that right.
Sure.
For those who know Savannah Center, they are involved in conflict management, conflict resolution, conflict prevention. They've worked throughout the country. They have so many programs trying to bring peace to Nigeria, trying to unify Nigeria. And so I was just thinking through the need for us, because Nigeria is on tenterhooks, and a lot is happening. Many of us are scared stiff. There are prophecies. We don't know whether they are genuine or fake, talking about whether Nigeria will survive. In fact, an American institute was said to have said that Nigeria was going to go to ruins by 2015.
Yeah.
But we have defied that. We are in 2022. So, Sir Bola Abimbola, you're welcome on my show.
Thank you so much. Nice to be here.
It's a great honor and privilege. Savannah Center for Diplomacy, Democracy and Development.
Yeah.
What exactly, what's the motivating factor in establishing that center?
Well, thank you so much, Uncle Jide, for having me. Savannah Center for Diplomacy, Democracy and Development was founded by Professor Ibrahim Gambari, the current Chief of Staff to the President. And the motivation was having toured around the world, promoting peace across very tense and troubled countries. At the verge of his retirement, he believed that he has done so much for the world, and there's a need for him to give back to his country. So he just don't want to retire and traveling as well, drinking tea, relaxing and all of that. So that's the motivation for establishing Savannah Center, to help to domesticate some of his exposure in the country. As you rightly stated, Nigeria is a beautiful country, but we have so much challenges, and we need a whole lot of think tank in nature of Savannah Center to be able to help us to navigate towards our prosperity and proper establishment as a country.
So you've been involved in peace promotion, conflict mitigation, conflict prevention, conflict management.
Sure.
Run us through those concepts. What does each of those concepts mean?
Well, first and foremost, we must understand that the nexus between development and even a well-established democracy is peace. So if you don't have a peace, a sustainable peace in your country, it's difficult to entrench democracy, and it's also difficult to galvanize properly towards having proper development across board. So when we talk about peace, peace is the language that speaks to development. Without peace, you cannot have development.
Sure.
Without peace, you cannot have democracy that we so much love and pride ourselves, about. So without peace, you will have a very chaotic environment, a very chaotic community, a very chaotic society. And at the end of the day, you discover that you waste all your resources, you waste all your time, you waste every God-given talent that God has deposited in you, either as a person or as a country, and at the end of the day, you have nothing to show for it. So peace mitigation, or conflict mitigation and peace promotion is very vital towards any country development. And that's why if you go to democracy that even doing very well, they invest so much on peace, because they understand that if you don't have peace, you cannot implement good policy. No matter how beautiful your policies may be, you cannot implement them and all of that. So it's very peace mitigation, conflict mitigation and peace promotion is very, very important towards having a developed country.
Something is striking, and the two guests I have on this show today are both ambassadors of peace, because we just finished a very lengthy talk on alternative dispute resolution.
Yes, ADR.
ADR, and I think you also need to link up with Ambassador Seg2 to see how you can collaborate in some of the things you do. But to run us through, you go to communities to foster, to bring about reconciliation and all of that. How do you go about it, particularly in conflict environments?
Yes.
How have you been able to achieve that? Okay,
there's a project we currently running or being implemented in 6 states of the Federation, and in 2 regions, northwest. In the northwest, you have Kaduna, Kano, and Katsina. You will agree with me that many people will tell you that those are very tense.
I'm surprised you didn't have Zamfara.
So when we started that project, Zamfara was relatively calm. Zamfara wasn't what it is today. And in the north central, you have Kogi, and you have Plateau, and you have Benue. And in these 6 states, we work across communities. But for us as Savannah Center, because we are very heavy in the area of policy. So what we do in this community for us, we look at government policies. Government had good intention in promulgating policies, but sometimes there could be gaps, and those gaps could be as a result of lack of adequate consultation with the people at the community level, just believing that those of us who live in Abuja will represent the vast majority of Nigerians, but most of the time that is not the truth. So at the end of the day, you have policies, instead of solving problems, those policies create more problems for the people. So we pick those policy, desk review, and identify those gaps that could be causing conflict at the community level. So we try to bring community people together. First and foremost, educate them on government policy and also get their feedback. And at the end of the day, we report back to policymakers on some of the gaps on these policies. And at the end of the day, we've been able to, gain so much cooperation from policymakers, looking at some of these policies and see what they could do. But much more than that, Nigeria is such a big country. For example, there was a time we were working in B states, that is Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe. And you go to a community like Kasesa, Kukareta, that most time people don't want to go. And what do you go to this community to do? Because you've heard, because I know you are very vast, you are very experienced journalist, you've heard about the issue in terms of relationship between the community and police. So we try to merge the trust, because at the end of the day, if you have police or law enforcement agency who are to establish peace at the community level and the community don't trust them, it's a big issue. So we went to those communities to try to see what are the issues. Why is it that you don't trust your police? Why is it that you don't trust your army? Why is it that you don't trust government institutions? At the end of the day, they told us some of the issues that that led to that, and we are able to help them to navigate through by establishing different community working groups who meet every 2 weeks and at the end of every month you bring commissioner of police, you bring some other person. They usually meet at the state level to also interact. And two things we are able to achieve, you know, ability to gather intelligence become very easier for law enforcement agency, because we are dealing directly with the people at the community. And in the north, because in the northern part of Nigeria, the majority of the community still maintain their culture. So the emirs, the district head, and all, they have so much influence and respect. For example, in Katsina, an emir told us that prior to now, when anybody comes to community, they are registered in the local way. What is the local way they register? They have a system of taxation. If Jide Ojo is coming to my community as an emir, somebody bring you to me. So you will register and pay small amount of money. All right. So with that, I know where you are coming from. I know what you are in my community to do. And when you are leaving, I will also give you a small note to say, okay, you are leaving. I don't know where you are going, but when you get to another community, that's the first thing the emir will ask you. So that helped prior to now to be able to track the movement of people, the visitors, and all of that. But at a point, that system was jeopardized as a result of maybe development, or what you will say. People say that we're in 21st century. There are some things we should do without. But that has further led to serious insecurity in some of these communities. But now we have been able, for example, in Katsina, so to say, we've been able to work with people, especially the traditional rulers, the government, to be able to introduce some of these system. And gradually, they are gaining peace at community level. If you also go to some community in Kaduna, the situation is the same. Peace is gradually returning. A lot of people don't know that gaining peace is a whole lot of work. It's a whole lot of work. And that is why somebody like me, when I heard people talk about national security, I asked, what is national security? Because you need to unbundle your national security if you must solve the problem of insecurity. For example, you have issue of youth employment that should be treated as national security. You have cyber security. All right, you have the core insecurity that a whole lot of people talk about. But if you must address the issue of insecurity, the issue of peace building and peace promotion, conflict mitigation with experts. And I love what the last speaker talked about alternative dispute resolution. Sometimes you even go to court. Court doesn't solve your problem. Sure. You need ADR to be able to heal, to be able to forgive, and to be able to, you know, the justice that you are getting, so it will be entrenched and you are satisfied with it.
Very deep, very deep. So now, Savannah Center is an NGO.
Yes.
But you have a whole lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Do you collaborate with other non-governmental organizations? Do you network, or how do you? Because your attention is needed all over the country. I mean, look at Southeast. Southeast, particularly Imo State, is becoming ungovernable. We have strings of incidents of unknown gunmen in Anambra. Unknown gunmen, people are being slain.
Yeah.
You know, trending videos of couple who went for their traditional marriage.
Very sad.
And they were slaughtered like fowl. I mean,
and those are uniform
men.
Yes.
So what about you now? What is civilian? So I think your attention, the attention of Savannah Center is needed all over the country. Yes. But I know you don't have all the resources. So do you network? What are other established platforms are doing something similar to what you are doing, or that you are networking with, to be able to reach more communities?
Yeah, we as a matter of fact, the core of our work, how we are able to make impact and reach out, is bet on collaboration.
Okay.
And collaboration could be horizontal or vertical, and we take advantage of both. For example, across the geopolitical zone, We have a key organization we work with. As a matter of fact, towards middle of last year, there was a national program we launched in Savannah Center, and the idea was we wanted to promote the culture of dialogue based on some of the issues you've raised, and we identify some key non-governmental organizations that are credible, that also have a whole lot of access and convening power based on the region that they are based, and we commission them to work with us to galvanize, regional conversation, regional dialogue at their region, and we are able to do that across the 6 geopolitical zone of Nigeria, and that project remain one of the cardinal sources that we have in Savannah Center today, even though we are currently planning towards having the national version, where we also bring some of these other people across the region to the center to have, because prior to now we must understand that if we must have a country that work, we can't be talking to each other. We must talk with each other. We must listen to one another. The problem in Niger Delta should be seen in the north as a problem of the north, and the problem in the north should be seen in Niger Delta or in southwest as the problem of Niger Delta or the problem of the west.
I didn't go to school as much as you do. What's the difference between talking to and talking with?
So when you talk to someone, you could talk down on someone. You could talk, without respect, without paying attention. But when you talk with someone, you show compassion. All right, you show understanding. You put yourself in the shoe of the same person. So that helps to foster peace. It also helps to foster development. But what we currently have in our country, unfortunately, is that, especially when you look at so much people, a lot of people, especially some leaders who have benefited so much from Nigeria as an entity, and at the end of their maybe tenure in the office, they go back to their region and become regional spokesperson. Forgetting that they benefited so much.
Ethnic jingoist.
Yes, exactly. So we need more of dialogue, talking with one another, putting each other at one another's shoe, do to each other what you love other person to do to you.
But beyond this issue of dialoguing, what are those things that you think gave rise to this conflict in the first place? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I know this is not the Nigeria I was giving birth in. This is not the Nigeria of 70s, of 80s, of 90s. This mutual distrust was never there. I mean, I went to school with people from different parts of the world, and we trusted each other, we played with each other, we found comfort in the company of one another. But today, everybody is like, no, I won't have anything. People are even discriminating against who to marry. That look, you cannot marry from those people. Today, we have profiled Fulanis as demons. So much so that anybody that's Fulani today is shivering about coming forward with his or her identity.
No, prior to now, we all grow up with Fulani in our various villages.
In their various communities, they are the one providing animal husbandry.
Of course.
They are the one.
Yes.
But today, what really has changed? Your researches, you work with a research center. Because I know you do a lot of policy dialogue, a lot of policy briefs and all of that. So what actually gave rise to this conflict in the first place?
Well, the core of our conflict as a country is injustice. It's injustice. When people can't gain justice from organized system, sometimes they go back to where they come from and change the narrative, and also try to gain support for their sentiment. And sometimes you could say some of those sentiments may be genuine, but then if we truly want to promote peace, at all our public fora, our public policy must speak to justice. We must make sure that we do justice to one another as a country. Another thing is family values. In those days, growing up in the street, everybody everybody becomes your guardian. But today, the case is completely different. Family value, family system is no longer there, and the quest for money. The quest for money. Growing up, my parents will always tell me that there is dignity in labor.
That's true.
So how many people?
Honesty pays.
Honesty pays. So how many of these guys or young people you tell there is dignity in labor today, when they look at the next leader who they know that live and breathe corruption, and yet they are the one that sit in the front row in our churches, playing the first role of our mosque, they are given the highest title in our traditional institutions and all of that. So how do you expect community to be peaceful? But more importantly, and government, I'm not sure, government and policymakers have paid a lot of attention to the issue of internet. And that's why I talk about, if you must address the issue of security, you must unbundle it. Cyber security.
I mean, during our news at 7:30 today, police in Abuja arrested 12 internet scammers.
Yeah.
And in South, it's even like the norm. You know, Yahoo plus, Yahoo. People are now wearing like a badge of honor.
Are you aware that, are you aware that we now have association of Yahoo mothers? Parent of Yahoo boys.
So they are not coming forward now to
yes,
say.
If you go to some southwest states, they are there. The first time I was told in a public function in Ibadan, I couldn't believe it. Mothers. So I have to personally investigate that matter and discover that it was true.
So people, so they don't say anything.
It's not a crime. They don't say it's a crime.
Association of Yahoo mothers.
Yes.
Okay. So family values. Injustice. Any other one?
Yes. In a situation that you cannot provide jobs for your teeming youths. In Nigeria today, we have population, and our population is growing very fast. Yes, 60% of our population are young people.
Yeah.
And out of those 60%, about 100% or about 99.9% of them are jobless. So how do you intend to have a country that is peaceful? So government should be able, I know in every country that works, government alone cannot provide job for its teeming citizens, but you should create, enabling environment that is so inviting for investors to come in and invest their money. The ease of doing business in Nigeria, I know government talk about that we are doing well in terms of the ease of doing business. But if I should ask you how much ITV spend on diesel to stay afloat, what you spent last year and what we are spending today, perhaps it must have tripled.
Of course. So, I mean, a liter of diesel sells for, as a last time, about 300, 350.
Yes.
Today it's about 800 per liter.
So how can you say the ease of doing business is improving? It's not better. So when even people who are trying so hard to create jobs can no longer run their businesses the way they would have loved to. Many people want to employ, but they know that by the time you buy diesel, by the time you buy this and do that, you don't have money to pay salary.
So we have an Herculean task.
Please just permit me to also add, politicians, they also need to tune down a bit.
Their rhetorics,
yes, their rhetorics and even their lifestyle. In the middle of all of these poverty, unemployment,
on the latter mood, people will look at you and say you are a politician because the way you are dressed, you are not like us. Look at your 3-piece Madariga. I'm sure you have to also tune down your luxurious lifestyle.
I must say, because I know I'm coming to TV, so and I need to confirm what give you a background and something like that.
Yes. Anyway, that's on the latter. Yes. So, but I take your point, really. I take your point that politicians need to tune down their ostentatious lifestyle and then their rhetorics, because they also are part of the factors the push factor
Yes.
that actually makes. So as we wind down, because we have very few minutes left on our time, what are the way forward? What will you want us as a takeaway to take away from this discussion?
Well, as a takeaway, one, we as a Nigerian, we need, all of us need to buy into, even though people will say there is no Nigeria vision, maybe to start from that, stakeholder needs to develop, including government, both non-state and state actors, critical stakeholders need to come to table and develop what is Nigeria vision. When we have Nigeria vision, let's galvanize our young people to buy into Nigeria vision. So when we are living as a Nigeria, we know that we are living for something. That is one. Secondly, the issue of unemployment should be seen as a pandemic, and it should be treated as such. The issue of national security as well, we need to unbundle it and develop intervention that suits the category. For example, somebody said Nigeria is stuck in our economy ecosystem because we believe that oil is everything. Meanwhile, today, most countries who are making a whole lot of money are making such money from technology and all of that. So, but in our country, have we truly diversified? Even the agriculture we'll be talking about, are we making deliberate investment? So, beyond employment, we also need to diversify economy. Which should be our educational system. It's also very important. When people go to school in Nigeria, what are the things they are taught? All right. I remember when I was in 411 in my university, I met a senior that graduated from the same school, the same department, that gave me his notes, and everything lecturer was teaching me was still the same thing, word for word. Nothing has changed. So we need to also, retail our educational system so that when people are coming out of our school, on their own, they should be able to create a job. They should be able to add to our value chain. All right, so it's very, very important. Then development. When you talk about development, you must first develop the mind of the people before you develop infrastructurally. If the mind are not developed, if you spend millions or billions of dollars to put infrastructure, some guys will still go back and vandalize.
Which is what is happening. Yeah. Which is exactly what. Anyway, I want to thank you very much. Sir, I think I was going to ask that. So, is it an allowance, or how did you come about this, sir, Bola, or you just adopted it because it suits your person?
Well, I will say I consider myself fortunate, and I'm grateful to God. I come from a very poor family, but very early in life, God ordered my path. Steps. And I was able to connect with right persons and all of that. I remember at the age of 24, I was already working and contributing my bit to development of the country. So I remember in those days when we traveled, because the combination of my name, Bola Abimbola, and if you've not met me before, many people thought I wasn't he, I was a she.
So,
yes, many people refer to me as a female. As a matter of fact, many people have toasted me, sending text messages on social media and all of that.
This beautiful
so it got to a point. So my friends began to call me sir.
Okay.
At a very young, and that's how we just talk.
Okay.
So instead of calling me Mister, they say no, you are too small. No, not Mister.
Yeah,
so let's just say sir. So we separate and all. That's how the name got.
Okay, now I know. Now you know. When next you sing, it's Sir Bola Abimbola. The same way you believe Sir Victor, wife Sir, there is Victor Abimbola Olaya. Yeah. Those are Sir. Yeah. So we have another Sir Bola Abimbola. It's been a pleasure hosting you on this show. Thank you very much for coming.
Pleasure to
pleasure. Viewers, that will be the size of our development focus with Jide Ojo TV today. Like I said, and like I used to say, this program is open up for sponsorship and advert placement. Come do business with us. We need to stay afloat. If you are enjoying our discussions, please come do business with us so that we can stay afloat and do that which you will enjoy and enrich your knowledge. Human mind is something we need to build. Thank you very much once again. Do have a great day, everybody. See you around next Wednesday.